Warm greetings. Good morning. Nice to see everyone. I hope that you can hear, and the translators just need to unmute if you're not already. If you have any trouble with unmuting, you can just type in the chat. I would like to share some food for thought in the form of quotes. And this first one is Plato. And it's very fascinating on this subject. Rishi, king who is a sage, he said, there will be no end to the troubles of states or of humanity itself until philosophers become kings in this world, or until those who we now call kings and rulers really and truly become philosophers. And this is back in that time of antiquity. So fascinating to see where we've come since then. John Milton, we often quote, had some insights on this subject, and he said, he who reigns within himself and rules passions, desires, and fears is more than a king. On this backdrop, we look forward to hearing and sharing on this subject about the king and the philosopher. And so handing over now to Prashant. Good morning, Prashant.
Hello and good morning, and meet again. Let us create a few moments of silence. In these moments of silence, for us, it is a rich silence. And it becomes rich if we use the best sight, the best intellect. What happens when we use the best sight? We see the physical world for what it is. If it is a story, we are able to see it as a story. That is the whole thing. What happened is today from morning, we see that happen in a story. And what we are going to see, it is the story. The whole thing of the past, a story. And we are able to come beyond the story. Game changes completely. Because with the gross intellect, one is not only caught in the story, but you are seeing that story as your world. And now you are able to see the world beyond the story. It is in a natural way. And the world beyond is, here is the real world. at this level is the true family and true home, true civilization, and the true self. You are just seeing this. And having seen this, true family, true home, true treasures, true father, true self. This is everything. Everything of ours is at the alaukic level. It is like coming out of a dream and discovering the waking reality. Completely different, new start. We also see that Prashant right now talking about truth and God, but Prashant is part of the story, and the true self wakes up. True self, the presence in it, maybe in the form of a tiny point, it is different. This dimension is different. Alaukic. To be like a tiny point appears normal. Even God is in the same form, point. And so also everyone else. But there are personalities. These are all noble personalities. With just the one step of using the spiritual sight changes everything. It is like 180 degrees turn round. Your world changes, the idea of self changes, your family changes, just as coming out of a nightmare, and your world is different. Everything changes. It is a region of silence, but as was said, it is a rich silence. Word of God, word with God. As we continue on our journey, we remember the immensely beautiful truth of the true self, beautiful truth of everyone. Thank you. Our subject for this weekend is Raj Rishi. These are like the big titles anyone can ever receive. As was said, even Plato, speaks of this. And Raj is on one hand a king or royal. We use the word prince sometimes. So the word Raj, it is a big title. Raja, king is a big thing, at a gross level, the highest position. And Rishi is a nice word in the culture of India. The word we often use in English, sage, but here is a being who has highest wisdom, who knows the secrets. Not just a philosopher. The word philosopher is but sage is the one who knows the truth, who has connection with God. He knows God. He has nothing to gain from this world. This world is there, but he is not slave to this world. And death and all is not an issue for him, because he is not living here to eat. So, and because he has secrets, he has got something very useful to offer to others. He knows the secrets of going to heaven, taking others to heaven. Sage, he knows this subtlety. He knows the truth beyond this life. So, on one level, he's a renunciate. He's not a bhogi, not an indulgent. As was said, this world has got nothing to offer to him. So, in that sense, renunciate. But on the other hand, he has wisdom and he knows the truth and he knows God, and he knows the secrets that he can apply. Some sages have mastery over matter. So in a different languages, whatever the word appropriate, we understand what we are talking about. Sometimes in English, the word expression is used, philosopher king. But as was said, it is not just a philosopher, but here is someone who knows the truth. Then we use the word sage. So sage and a king, then it is a very high combination, and very fortunate. Country will be very fortunate. So sometimes there are countries who are lucky to have a president, king, who is also, philosopher, learned, from the background of education. They say country is fortunate because here is a person who has got the highest in his academic world, and he is also the president of the country. Country is lucky. But taking this whole thing to the top level, sage is like the refined level of this, and also the king, master. We'll be using the whiteboard. So how are we, going to see this subject, and how does Baba see this subject of Raja, king? First, Baba says, nothing wrong being the king. The position is not a wrong thing, but ego, that's what we are against. But to be useful as a king, first you will have to be the master of a small laboratory that you are given, and that is the mind. To be able to rule the world, or rule kingdom, that is great position, and congratulations. But first see that you can rule see, you can do this in your laboratory. Laboratory, important aspect is the mind. And then you got a body and the senses. Let us see how much you are the master of this. Let's see, and this is what a nice challenge for us. Even for short time, giving ourselves the exercise and seeing if that is happening. And that is the law. If you are master in a small level, then your country will say, you are the right person to do the job for the country. If you see some presidents of United States, last 15 presidents, lots of them, they had some position before, like a governor of some state or senator. They had a position, and if they performed well in that position, then the country says we want him as a president, and automatically others want to know if what he did. It cannot be hidden. So same thing here. Each one of us got this laboratory called the mind, and let us see how much of a king you are here. So this is the king, and the Raja, and Rishi, the sage, and the secrets that he knows. To begin with, we all, we go through these small phases, and let me use this expression here. When we first learn the lessons and go through these ideas, we say, let us say there is Harry. Harry goes through the lessons and understands about soul. He thinks of the soul. Let me put it differently. Harry first becomes a student. Then the student Harry, spiritual student Harry, important aspect for him now. He understands about soul. It is like a new dimension opens, subtle and alaukic. He has full understanding, experience. He's seeing the soul. So that is the second step. What's the third step? You want to tell? Harry is now seeing the soul, is meditating on the soul.
The soul is seeing student Harry.
Yeah, very good. So the third step is the soul is seeing Harry. Understand the difference. So our starting position can only be, we are body conscious and the ego is ruling us, that is the starting position. So there is ego and we are in that state. And suddenly first day I won't be soul conscious. So it starts here. Harry is starting, Harry is understanding, and ego is shadowing all along. Ego is very much there. And Harry is now understanding about the soul, seeing the soul, believes in the soul. But all along, it is like an ego-based effort that goes on. It's a necessary step. First step, second step, these are necessary steps. We can't bypass. As was said, we start from there. And he understands there is a soul. But the step 3, what exactly happens in the step 3? The soul becomes conscious. Consciousness shifts to the soul. Until then, the soul is not even conscious. So soul becomes conscious. Now, what does it mean? Invisible, that tiny point in that, from a different world. He has woken up and he knows his complete independence from everything. When you have woken up out of the dream, you are not mixing your life with the dream. The dream was separate, you are separate. Same here. When the soul wakes up, soul understands he existed even before Prashant was born. It is not soul always has to be seen as a soul of Prashant. No, Prashant is a temporary association. Soul wakes up, sees his independence. Independence from the story, independence from the role, not mixing. That is like a necessary step, not mixing. Soul wakes up and soul is seeing the story, and in the story there is Prashant. And it is temporary, whole thing is temporary. He is able to see the whole physical world for what it is. Until then, a huge hype is made of this story world. How does that happen? This appears so big, so serious, so important. Why did someone say this? And why did something happen? It all appears a big deal. And huge hype. How does that happen? You want to answer? We are saying it's a small story and it is going to finish, no difference to any other story. It is just like Harry Potter story. This is the way the awake soul sees. But all this time, it didn't look like that. It appeared the major thing, We are really concerned and we want to follow the news, what is happening next. So where does that come from?
Someone's typed, we have given importance to the story. That's why it affects. And ego has a role to play there. And collectively, everyone else is seeing it that way. I might add, we've lost touch with our reality of being secure.
Yeah, very good. That is true. The ego within us, ego, that is the world of ego. Ego is alive because of the story. Petty things within the story, they are big things. It's a world for different ego. Ego, we said, it is different identities. For these identities, that is the world. And it becomes so serious what someone does and what might happen. He follows the news, want to know the details, remembers them, speaks about them. That is the life of the ego. Ego makes a hype of something that is so irrelevant and so small. And within that we are saying Prashant is within the story and small. The whole story is small. So how can one role can be suddenly so important? But ego makes a big deal of it. And as if small things matter. But that is fine. During these seconds, minutes, when the soul is conscious, when we are saying the soul is conscious, we are in step 3, we are seeing things completely differently. We are seeing the story as story. And we are able to understand there is this real world. And that is more important, real world. So who is Raj Rishi? Will Harry become Raj Rishi? Harry with big beard and what long beard. Who becomes Raj Rishi?
The awakened soul and the soul.
Yes, that's right. This tiny point is Raj Rishi. And the tiny point is also the angel. And when we are using the language prince, it is tiny point. We need to get used to this alokik, the dimension, reality. More we use paras, that will appear normal. With patthar, stone intellect, we are so used to thinking in the story language and the gross level, that as if everything has to be gross. Anything that is not gross doesn't even exist. Now you are realizing the real world is alokik, unearthly, subtle, but eternal. That is the more important. That the world of the souls, that is eternal. But it is different. Alokik just means different. It is not made of the stuff the story is made. Just like you may perform some drama, and you are using cardboard masks and cardboard costumes. That is the drama. You come home, home, your things of the home are not made of cardboard. Your friends are not made of cardboard. But drama is made of cardboard. It is same here. This physical world is made of one stuff, but your world is alokik and different. Our body is made for the physical world. So it has got senses for the physical world. And that body is not able to show us the world that is beyond the story. So those senses are for the physical. That's why we use the divine sight, we use paras intellect, and that is the first step. Our journey starts with that. More we use paras, this will become more refined. Intellect becomes sharper. And that is important step for us. You want to add anything? Say anything? Or any questions you want to?
It is getting used to it. I think that's helpful. It's like the orientation, familiarizing ourselves. So this is why we need reminders think we first hear it intellectually and then it becomes more experiential. But finally it needs to become like embodiment, but it's only embodiment when there are no strings to the drama, because when we're clear, we don't get a little bit confused about drama. So yeah, just a thought from here. No other questions right now.
Sure. Let us come in the experience of this. Just the orientation, we are seeing that we are trying to understand what has happened to this invisible prince. So here is the prince, and why is he lucky? He is from the family of God. It is not just a metaphorical, he belongs to God. Just like, say, here in the royal family, someone is related to the king and he belongs there. He lives with them and he is loved by them. Not everyone can say, the king is my father, but there are some who will say, he is my father. So also here is the prince who belongs to the King of Kings, the son, child, is loved by the King of Kings. His world is of joy and love, natural, which means there is nothing inauspicious in his world. It is like a world of God, world with God, such is. That's why very, very lucky. Everyone in his world, that is the family, they are all divine and royals. We use the word divine because there is no demon, nothing of Ravan here. Ravan's field of action is the story world. So at this level, there is no trace of Ravan. It came in the Murli of today. There is no trace of vices. So in this dimension, there is no trace. And then nothing inauspicious. Even desire is a feeling that is inauspicious. So there is no desire, no needs, and no disappointments. Not the slightest. So here is a region of divine royals. They know that they lack nothing, they miss nothing. All are childlike and godlike. Childlike, then they are innocent. They can afford to be innocent. There is no harm in any form that can come to anyone. Natural instinct is childlike, innocence, being carefree, harmless. And godlike, they are wise. That is natural state of everyone. So what else does anyone need? Here he has got world of immortality, world with the God. His natural state of everyone is of joy and love. everyone is beyond harm. This is forever. So here is a prince, invisible prince, who is lucky. And he is given this great gift in the form of the story. What happens? As the darkness comes in, there is time of light, there is time of darkness. The world remains the same. Prince is forever the prince. And his world is forever. It is eternally like this. But now there is darkness. In the darkness, he can't experience his own world. And now the story appears interesting and drawn into the story, impressed with things in the story. And impressed in that story world to the level where he lives in the story. He becomes unconscious. The invisible prince becomes unconscious, and then ego becomes the king. Ego becomes conscious. Ego is ruling his life and his mind. So when the language is used, I, it is the language of the ego. Ego has become the master of his mind and his life, full time. Is it a problem if ego is ruling the life and the mind? You want to tell? Why is it a big problem? Life is going on, everyone appears to be happy. They are planning Christmas. Why should we be so bothered about this? There is progress also, so much research going on. Agreed, ego is ruling the life and mind. But why do we need to be so concerned about this?
And when the ego is conscious, when ego rules, it brings suffering. And the suffering is because of deception. Penalties are a certainty. Ego is madness magnet. It's like confusion attracts confusion. Every vice and makes him more confused.
Yeah, good. So ego is embodiment of ignorance. That is the, in the darkness, ego, flourishes. Ego needs that darkness, and it holds you in darkness. That is the problem. Then ego doesn't want to let go. Ego wants to survive. Ego wants to get bigger. So it holds you in that darkness. And ego is absolutely in bondage. He depends upon the story for his existence. So episodes finish, ego will suffer. So ego is in this trap of sorrow for nothing. It is ignorance, bondage, suffering. So that is the sequence of with ego. For it is like a madness. Sometimes childish. Sometimes they cry for nothing. It is a bit like that. An ego-based life is such a waste of life, and then waste, but suffering is coming because of ego, and sin is committed because of ego. So all in ignorance, all in darkness, but unnecessarily. Ordinarily, in the in the darkness. Can you imagine? Go in your towns, you see your learned people, professors. This is a major issue, of havoc created by ego. But no one is bothered about this. No one sees it as serious. They have to do something about this. When we say Ravan, 10 heads of Ravan, these are the 10 heads of Ravan who are absolutely trapped in that box. But how many people in your town are concerned about this? So if in this such a world you are questioning this, why should ego rule my life? You are already going in the direction of Rishi. Raj is another department, Rishi, sage. You are breaking a riddle, code, to the human suffering. Biggest secret, the huge secret of this, what Ram has, is how to remove Ravan. He recognizes the enemy and he has method to remove the enemy. Just like, sometimes someone may have 10 symptoms and you don't know, not every doctor can know, how to treat this person. But if you got a method to get a right diagnosis, what exactly is happening here? And sometimes it can be a tumor, small tumor in some organs, hidden. You remove that tumor, all these 10 symptoms disappear. And it is very intelligent of the doctor to spot that and to treat him. Sometimes with minimum intervention, and he's cured of 10 different symptoms. Same here. In this world, many symptoms. The world has got so many problems. One professor here, astronomy professor called Martin Rees, his book is called The Final Century. And in this book, he writes some 10 or 13 different reasons, problems facing this planet, and because of which we cannot survive this century. That's what he writes. The book itself is called The Final Century. He's the head of the Department of Astronomy in Cambridge, Martin Rees. And different reasons, not population and nuclear weapons and the madness of some leaders. These are not the only problem, he says. Even scientists, what they are doing, it is another problem. So there are many situations going on at a global level, many situations going on at a personal level, individual level. Is there an answer to this? Yes. All these different symptoms, there is a illness. And that illness is called Ravan. All these 10 heads, of ego, all this put together, that is Ravan. And if you understand this, if you spot this, then you are clever doctor, spiritual doctor. Once you have understood, then answer will become easier. Now you will appreciate the answer also. As we said, this ego is the seed of ignorance, bondage. It traps you, and it is the seed of all suffering. We take offense, we want to give offense, all different complications come. What we do not like in others, what we do not like in ourselves, its origin is here. Different hates of Ravan. And as we are giving the example of tumor, cancer tumor is the worst. And cancer doesn't just stay cancer, it gets bigger. It very quickly becomes bigger. Once it takes more nutrition and gets bigger. Same happens with ego. Ego doesn't just stay there. Ego wants to get bigger. That's why ego says more, more, more. I want more. Praise me more. And I want a bigger head. That more that comes in our inner chant, in any form, they are all heads of Ravan. And then this head is getting bigger. So one is literally working for the demon. Without it knowing, they are creating problem to themselves. What is the answer? So we said, you get a title of Rishi already. So as a Rishi, what is the answer to this? You got the diagnosis right, that there is a problem of Ravan. Is there one word that can change these dynamics? One word answer.
Light.
That's right. I'm looking for this word, light. It's a light of truth. So if you bring this light of truth here, the game changes. The very reason Ravan is there, Ravan needs the darkness of ignorance. Without darkness, Ravan cannot flourish. Just like you create you get some atmosphere, and the weeds flourish. In a different season comes, different atmosphere, daffodils come out. Daffodils will not come out when it is winter or when there is no right season, then the daffodils come out. The same happens here. You create one atmosphere of ignorance, and then this Ravan flourishes. Inner atmosphere. But we have the option and a great atmosphere of full knowledge. When we use the word paras, we are talking about full knowledge. By using the word paras, you are giving yourself permission to see in full light. 100%. You are giving yourself that permission. Maya will tell you, don't go for full for first day, do it 50%. No, here you have the option to use 100%. Full light. What does that mean, full light? It means you are seeing, okay, this is a story. So right now, Prashant talking is a story. It is a story, and everything that happened is a story, and it has got a script. And suddenly something breaks and something changes, and this our technology suddenly fails. It's a story. And then the story, let us see the next script. Next episode, what happens next. You will be seeing it as a story in all situations. What happened in the past, a story. There is not too much analysis and dissection and why, what. Full light gives you permission to see it in 100% clarity, 100% knowledge. Like here, one is there is a story behind the story is the real world. Sure, it is eternal world, and you are immortal. The invisible prince is immortal and beyond harm. Then you are beyond harm. Nothing can harm you. Then what is the concern? Someone does something, says something, and there may be suicide bombers, but you are beyond harm. So why should there be even the slightest concern or fear? Your reactions will be different, your attitude will be different. So if you are not using the full light, then even the slightest criticism will bother you, because you are not seeing yourself in full light. It is there, Prince is there, eternal Prince is there, but you are not even seeing him. You are still trying to protect your ego. So then you are not using paras. Paras will be affected by slightest criticism of your shoes. Someone criticizing the socks, it might bother you. Ego is like that. Ravan is bothered by these things. But if you are using paras during those minutes, the game is different. But it also means during those minutes, you are shrinking Ravan. When you are using full light, Ravan becomes smaller in you. It's a huge success, because as we said, not many people in the world spot the illness or have any thoughts of doing anything about this, but you are having the method to eradicate this illness. Yeah, you want to say anything?
On that last part, it seems important, the full light, because otherwise partial light, there may be something happening, but it's not very clear. So any scientist in a lab trying to get an experiment with unclear results can't really go forward and build a clear understanding. So the unmixed, clear, full light has so much power. Just a question here. Is the body, meaning matter, drama, or ego, which has hidden the most important part of us, meaning the soul, for so long? Or is it essentially the same thing?
Do you mind to, you understood the question, Sarah?
What is it that has hidden the soul for so
That
long?
is hiding the, yeah, so.
Is it matter? Is it drama? Or is it ego? Or is it the same thing?
You understood?
What is it that has hidden the soul?
Okay, what is hiding the soul? It is our stone intellect. Stone intellect cannot see it. Nothing can hide the soul. So we are the souls ourselves. Their souls are not gross. So physical eyes will not see the soul, but it is the gross intellect that cannot see it. It is a bit like in this room there is a table, but a blind person, he cannot see the table. Nothing is hiding the table, but a blind person cannot see. But if he has the right glasses, he can see. Same here. This whole dimension, alokik dimension, is invisible if I'm not using the sight.
And it's the pata or stone intellect which creates the environment for ego to flourish.
Yes.
Someone commented, if we have the capacity to create such confusion or ego, then we surely must have the ability also to perform the miracle of this awakening.
Yes, absolutely. So we go into this direction, but to recognize this is what has happened to us is like an important milestone for us. What has happened to the large majority of the world? They have gone into darkness and they think it is normal. They have settled to that darkness and they are into that story and that box. They have, when they are sort of working for their ego, everyone, they all want more, more, more. And they know they are going to die, but they still want more, more, more. Ego is working in this ignorance. They got some model, they have created some idea what progress is. But ego is getting bigger. That is all the aim of the life. And unquestioned. So in such a world, you are realizing what has happened to us. That is like a big milestone.
Does the soul have this awareness of its joy and love when it is in Parandam?
That every soul, wherever he is a being of joy and love. And joy, love comes with its friends. All that is required is he remains conscious. That's all.
No other questions, just some nice comments. To understand light, one has to use it.
Yes. So now that we have understood what has happened to us in this journey, what has happened to the invisible prince, now we know why we are using paras. And the first step, we are using paras. We are seeing the story for what it is. And we are stepping behind the story. In a natural way. And stepping behind, and that environment, paras environment, favors the soul. This paras environment, we can see the true family. They all are like stars, but these are beings of love and joy. They are all divine royals. World of silence. So when we are in this world, there are no physical world. Thoughts don't go in the drama. Your attention is on this alokik. Everyone is good. Everyone is lovely and lucky. And this is the world with the God. One who is always paras. One who is always in truth. And so it is like an embodiment of what it means to be in truth and to be conscious, free from ignorance and free from bondage, free from sorrow. What remains is the ocean of bliss and the ocean of love. but he sees everyone like himself. He knows that all are like him and all belong to him. All are from the same home. He knows this in an obvious way. They themselves are not seeing, they are not paras, they don't have the sight. But the Father is the one who knows this very clearly. Knows the extraordinary truth of everyone. He knows that all are Raj Rishis. They are princes. They belong to the King of Kings. And he knows they are sages. He knows, he sees them as angelic souls, angelic princes. And this is without exaggeration. This is what he knows. This is what is obvious to him. And he knows this is a timeless truth. All are worthy of love and lovely, loving, and that's why loved by God. We are just seeing this scene of this sky. And we do not see this as just a meditation. This scene is, this is a real world. It is not for traffic control experience. This is the world that matters. And in the real world is an eternal celebration. Silent celebration, but eternal celebration. Because there is no illness of Ravan in any form. We said there are some 13 different things, problems facing the planet. At this level, there is not the slightest inauspicious. No one even needs anything, leave aside any harm. No harm and no need. It is like a world of disbelief, beyond belief. Everyone is good and everyone is lovely forever. All are beings, angelic beings. And for the invisible prince, this is natural, normal. He also knows every second he's experiencing this, just seeing this, the details of this. He makes it easy for others to see it. In that sense, contributing to the true benevolence. All you are doing is experiencing this ultimate celebration. That's what you are doing. But in the process, you end up doing the highest karma. And you also contribute to the highest benevolence. Why benevolence? Because the highest help for others is the light. What is required in darkness is the light. Ego has other needs, but the soul that is unconscious, he needs light. And if you stay in light, the light doesn't stay just for yourselves. All that is required is you come in the light and come into full light. And it will become easy for others to see their truth. Baba calls this lighthouse, and it is a lighthouse effect. In this, there is naturally soul awareness. Soul is conscious. We are using the word invisible prince. He is in the world of God and world with God. Knows his life with God. Worthiness, knows his worthiness to belong to God, to be loved by God. With the right, in that feeling, there is silent feeling of eternal bond. But also knows everyone belongs here. At this level, there is no hierarchy in a true sense. There is no competition or that angelic perspective. Everyone is worthy and everyone is good. That is the attitude. Attitude of the one, of the prince is like this. All are lovely. So just one step of being conscious, and you are seeing the world of disbelief. Making it possible for others to see it. As this invisible prince continues on his journey, he remains aware of this beautiful truth. Thank you. Yes, you want to add anything, say anything?
I feel like we can't be reminded enough that help is at the level of light rather than this impulse when we are not in the actor consciousness to try to help Cinderella. Of course, we can still do the actions, but it's not the real support. It's the support is in empowering the fellow royal soul. In fact, they already have answers. So, one question, shall I ask it now? So one question here, many souls die, like physically, when they've been in a state of coma. So their body is in a coma. Does it mean that they can't be in soul consciousness at the point of leaving the body? They may have actually spent time living in light, but if the body is in a state of coma, what is any clarity about that?
Sure. Body is in the state of coma, but we do not know what is happening to the soul. Soul has its own journey. Sometimes when the patient recovers, he tells that the doctors were saying things, doctors were telling him, open the eyes, and the person says, I was able to hear everything. I wanted to tell them I'm okay, but the body was not responding. You cannot speak, you cannot open the eyes, but they were very conscious of what is going on. So externally, what we see in the physical body, that is not a reflection what is happening to the soul. The journey of the eternal soul, it continues. And if he has made effort, and effort is never wasted. Spiritual effort is never wasted.
Thank you. It's a question. It's an interesting phenomenon that the more you use Paris, the stronger it gets. However, Ravan's opposition also gets stronger. And that it is guaranteed to happen.
And no, not necessarily. As was said, if the atmosphere is of light, then I won't say Ravan's opposition will get stronger. Ravan becomes weaker. And of course, until we become karmatit, we know that there will be things, we have to remove the Ravan's, remnants. But Ravan will continue to become weaker every day.
That's very helpful, because sometimes in the philosophy it's said, but maybe one aspect is we become more aware of it and the subtlety of it, but it's not that it actually gets more. That's just one thought. But before, we may have been working for the ego. After, we are reducing the ego, so that is a different game. But when you bring light, as you say, it is a victory.
Yes, it is like nice formula. Baba says sometimes this Raj Yoga is easy, it is also difficult. It is easy if you use light, and if you use paras, it is easiest of the easy. But if you use patthar and you are practicing Raj Yoga, it becomes difficult. In the darkness, it is difficult. And also, knowing of light, talking about light is not light. Let there be light. Not just talking about light. Like, for example, here we said, I talk about paras, but slightest some situation in the drama affects me, which means I was not using paras. I'm talking about paras, but during the seconds and minutes you are using paras, it is really a story, and you will be amused by everything that is happening in the story during those minutes. So to pay attention to the light, that is really light. There is a really paras, and you are taking real benefit of the paras. Maybe for minutes, it all starts like that, but then quantity will follow. Starts with quality, and then quantity will follow.
Thank you. Maybe it's a good time to pause and we'll come back to the any questions. Would you
Yes.
like to suggest a question for the room discussion?
Yes, so what are the secrets that you want to underline, and secrets of Raj Rishi that you want to underline, for yourselves, you value, and take the benefit for the self to start with.
That's nice. Thank you. So we'll take this time to connect or break, and feel free to use cameras in the rooms, and just a reminder to give space for everyone to share. So see you back very soon. Nice to see you all, and welcome back. I hope we didn't cut conversations too much in the middle of something enlightening, but you can continue in the chat. So just a little invitation to perhaps create some silence for consolidating our own reflections. So the real kings, it's not the matter, but the invisible stars. So today we're happy to be joined by Brother Sanjay, who's connecting from Israel. So good afternoon to you. Happy to hear from you and your thoughts. Thanks for being ever ready.
Good afternoon and good morning, wherever you are. Yes, it was so nice discussion in our room about that slippery third uh, stage of Harry, as was described by Prashant. And the question was how to know, how to really know that I am there, I am in the third stage. And the understanding here is when you create 100% total separation between the real self, the soul, and this little drama, this little story, far away there in a place that is called Earth. And at those seconds, you don't feel the push and pull, or you don't have something you like more than the other. It means that maybe you are at that stage of, yes, being the soul who knows about Harry. Complete and total separation. Focus 100% at home, on real family, on God, and as little as possible for the physical world where Ravan is getting bigger and bigger when you pay attention to him. So as was said, as little attention you pay to the physical, to what happening is here, there, Ravan become little and shrink. And also, second by second, when you accumulate those experiences, and it is realized here that one needs to have the experience of being free, like Jivan Mukti, total freedom, is necessary. Not just speaking about light, as was said by Prashant, feel the light, experience the light. It might be a second here, second there, never mind. You accumulate that and you become stronger in that. And quality brings quantity, as was said. Thank you and good luck. Shanti.
Thank you. It feels accessible. The quality brings quantity. And it feels like what you're saying, Ravan's feelings stand out when we are more deeply in the contrast. So that helps to see that question you asked, how do we really know? And it's the time spent in that mind without push and pull. And you reminded me of a sort of an insight or thought I had that that's what self-respect is. When the angel is experiencing the mind without Ravan. So you are feeling the self, you're feeling yourself without that mess, mixture. So it would be very interesting if that's triggered anything in anyone, and maybe you have your realizations and also experiences or any questions. Thank you so much. So maybe we invite Prashant back and
Sure. Hello. Thank you. Very nice to see Sanjay. One question for you before you might like to ask question. One question to you. Someone asked this question. We got these many false identities. Which one is difficult to remove? People can create identity based on the body, based on job, based on many things, virtues. Ravan's party going on. So whatever is around, he identifies. So which one is difficult to remove? That was the question. What would you answer?
The one that is trying to distinguish the identity. Someone's put their part or the ego, one we're most attached to, the one we don't see, the one that's hidden.
Yes, very good. So it is like a simple thing. If there is dirt on my hand or on clothes, and if I have not seen it, it will not go. It will be there, whole day. If I see it, then there is a possibility I might be able to remove it in seconds. But if it is not seen, it will stay. Same here, all these identities, the Ravan's whole department. Don't talk about Ravan. Ravan will have this chant. Don't talk about Ravan, then think positive. Ravan's big advice to you. Don't look at him. Don't try to see that there is identity here. So there is some aspect of denial that goes on within most of us. We may see identities in others, but in ourselves, there is a denial. And within this, the identity based on spiritual life, that is another area we might be not noticing. It is identity. Just like some religions, they identify, I am a Christian, I'm this, different identities. And it prevents them from becoming soul conscious. They stay at that level. We can stay in a holy corner within that box. So it is still Harry, but Harry has become virtuous, and Harry has become very, very good and very, vegan, and Harry has been following strict disciplines. All of that is good, and it has to be done, but that is not for the Ravan. We are not doing it for Ravan. Ravan will claim things. Even in this area, Ravan will claim. Ravan will claim anything. We had once a gathering here, there are cancer patients. And someone noticed that when they were having discussion amongst themselves, they had an ego that their cancer is more serious than someone else's cancer. So ego can come in any form, that can go to any level. So here you are associated with spiritual life. Ego will come, whether with your yoga, with the knowledge, with service, ego will come. But if you do not see it, it will get bigger. And it will appear like a destination. So you are still at that hairy level, but you're not gone to the third step. And then the third step is soul has become conscious. And soul is truly spiritual. Only spiritual entity is the soul. Harry can never become spiritual, but ego wants to call Harry has become spiritual. Harry is enlightened. No, it is the soul that wakes up. So that is the step that has to be taken, and it is the soul that is Rajrishi. Game is at that level. When you take that step, something at the below ego will not like it. You may even see a resistance from ego. And understandably, because you are not giving commission to ego. Ego wants some percentage. But here you are saying, no, that is, you have to take that step. You have to observe that in yourselves, how ego is trying to take commission and bring it to the hairy level. It is happening in me, and it will happen in you, happen in everyone. But the question is, are we observing it, or are we in denial? If I'm observing it, then there is a possibility I can go past it. Any other thoughts? Anyone want to add?
Someone typed, does Ravan want us to forget Ravan? So it's like Ravan doesn't want to be seen, so wants to not have light so he can remain ambiguous, obscure. Question earlier, how to help when a loved one seems trapped in sorrow and blind and refuses to open up?
Sure. I know, Sarah, you got experience in this area recently. Do you want to first share some thoughts on this?
Yeah, the insight from here, I'd be happy to hear what Prashant says, but it's like we understand that it is a head of Ravan that is trapped in sorrow and doesn't want to let go. And that is for us, that's really helpful. So whatever strategy you take, you know that the soul is naturally free from sorrow, but is not conscious. So one example, if say there's bereavement, that is holding the Ravan wants to go into that. So you could give like a method, you could say, you can go into the details, you could create like a box with all the details of that lost one, photos, memories, physical box or in your mind. And they want to go into that, that's fine. But you also have the option to put it back in the box, not a denial, but you also can contain it and you can come to that box when you want, but you can also put it back and explore the other areas of your life, other roles, other situations. And that just gives them context and space. And then you can also give like the insight that we are more than the sum of our roles. And it's usually one or maybe two of the roles that are in sorrow. So they get perhaps a direction and maybe a glimpse and some space to contemplate that. But what we're dealing with is Ravan is conscious and he doesn't want to let go. So there are some thoughts from here.
Yeah, nice. Just what Sarah mentioned, just in one aspect in that, what she mentioned, we can help the ego in the other person, or we can help the angel in other person. And most people, they are all trying to, console the ego in each other. Now here, you are silent. Whatever the appropriate you may be doing in action, you may have to speak some words. Each situation is individual, so that is happening. At the same time, in your attitude and vision, know that here is the prince. and he is lucky. Everyone is lucky. So nothing wrong can happen to the prince ever. The prince is beyond harm. Story is to have hold that vision silently. And the language of the soul reaches the soul. And then you are performing the action that is appropriate in the situation. And Sarah gave this beautiful insight that there is one head of Ravan needs something. You are not, challenging it, but but not feeding it either. Do we have transmission? And are we listening to Baba today?
Yes.
If there is any question, and then we'll go to the transmission.
Nothing immediate. So
Yeah.
if there's anything final you want to share, perhaps like maybe you've already said it, but homework or any summary point, and then we can go to Madhavan. So anything final from Prashant?
During these 2 days, let us have this program for ourselves. And the program is, there is a celebration going on, eternal celebration, celestial celebration. That is our world. The ego wants to go and analyze something and question something, complain about something in the mind. That is not our program this weekend. Give yourself this. That is like a waste of time for us. Why? Because that is in the story. Ego wants to go there, but the soul, every second he is in the celebration. He is not only helping himself, but he also helps others. That is our role. And the experiment. You may have to put a full stop. The mind is going somewhere. Now it is time to put a full stop to these thoughts. Come in the sky. So enjoy the celebration for 24 hours.
Thank you. So that's great. So a few moments we'll be connecting to transmission from Madhavan. Thank you so much.
अभी एक सेकंड में सभी प्रमाण अपने राजयोग के अभ्यास करते हुए मन को एकाग्र करने का मालिकपन मन को जहाँ जाओ जितना समय जाओ जैसे जाओ वैसे अभी अभी मन को एकाग्र करो। कहाँ भी मन यहाँ वहाँ चंचल नहीं हो। मेरा